Hey folks, good afternoon. Welcome back to Phatkat Collections. Got another awesome tool for you folks, and this is a mini pruning shear. Now, I've been on an Amazon tool kick lately. Not gonna disclose like what I do for work and that kind of stuff, but I'm always dealing with something, right? It is in the trade, right? At least for now. And so I like to have all the tools I may for anything I may encounter, right? And so a lot of times if you're going to spend a couple $100s for an electric tool or any tool for that matter, it better be something you're going to use often, right? And again, depending on your trade. But for me, this is not something that I use every single day, but it's definitely something when I need to cut something, this is super handy. So one thing I really like about this is like around the house sometimes, and again, spring comes around, trees grow, and generally you don't want to have limbs overhanging your gutters. And a lot of times, if you're trying to get a ladder in next to a gutter, we'll just use gutter cleaning as an example. If you're trying to get a ladder in next to a gutter, sometimes there are branches in the way, right? And you can't always get up there and get the ladder in position, right? So what I like about this, and I don't know if you guys have ever tried to climb a ladder and cut a limb, you don't have a lot of leverage. At least for me, it's dangerous to take your hands off the ladder. So I mainly bought this for when I'm going to climb a ladder, I can reach out and start to cut away some limbs in order to get the ladder in there next to the gutter or whatever, around the house, whatever you may be doing, whatever project you may have. If you have limbs around, this is going to be a fantastic tool. Would I have bought this if it cost a couple $100s? No, right? But I got a fantastic deal on this. And by the time you guys watch the video, this may be gone. I will link in the description to this tool. But if it's not available, I'll link to where you can get this same tool just under a different name. Generally, you can find many sellers selling things. One might be blue, one might be gray. They're ultimately the same tool, right? So again, this is a mini electric pruning shear. It's only a 7.2 volt, 2000 milliamp lithium ion battery. Unfortunately, I don't think that you can replace the battery, but there is a screw on the bottom, and this does slide off, so maybe, I don't know. It's not like a battery you see often. It is kind of, maybe if you remove this door, you can replace it with like some standard cells, possibly. I hope so. It does charge with USB-C connection, which is kind of nice. And with all the tools I have, a lot of times, I recently just labeled all my chargers because they're all different. And so this is really nice that I can use any USB-C charger. I wish they started doing this with all batteries, right? With whatever tool that requires a charge. And maybe due to the voltage, they can't do that. I don't know. But this, I love USB-C. I can use a portable battery bank. I can plug it into my cigarette lighter. It's really great. As far as cutting power on this, let me just show you how to turn it on. You press and hold the button. It's got a little display here. One thing I've noticed with this particular tool though, mine, you kind of have to cycle through that, press it 3 times, then it'll turn green. Then you depress the trigger twice. That opens a blade, and then you basically just pull the trigger. It does have a light on it. This is kind of useless. I'm not sure why you'd use that, but it has it. And that's it. You basically pull the trigger and it closes. What I like about it too is it's actually sensitive to your finger. So if you depress it, you can release and let go. This is kind of nice, like a safety feature, because if you're cutting some limbs and all of a sudden you realize you got your finger in there, you can just release and it will release the blade. But the blade happens pretty quick, so definitely be careful with something like this. In the heat of, if you're reaching out with one arm on a ladder, trimming stuff, not a big deal. But sometimes, like my dad, when he's pruning, trimming things up to fit in the garbage can, something like this would benefit him, but I fear that he would accidentally kind of get in the heat of the moment and put his finger in there, and that's even something I have to be careful with, because when you're moving fast, that's when accidents happen. So basically, to lock it down again, you press and hold, wait, it'll beep a couple times at you, then it's locked in place. It's still on, technically. You could turn it off. I think you press and hold, yep. Turn it off, or it'll go into power saving mode and turn off, I think, after like a couple minutes. It does have a power indicator, kind of weird power indicator, but you have 4 lights. 4 is fully charged. When you get down to 1 light, you're ready to charge, right? So this is a fantastic tool. Really thin body, so it's very easy to grip. The only thing I wish they would have done was maybe put on a little lanyard so you can kind of hang this off a belt or off your wrist, but not a big deal. You could very easily add something on the trigger guard, but this is fantastic. Let me give you guys the specifications. So it opens to 1.57 inches. It says here, it'll cut branches up to 0.86 inches. I'm not going to give you the whole spiel about what it's ideal for. Lightweight and rechargeable. It weighs 2.2 pounds. It says it has a shearing force of 1.2 tons. I can't confirm or deny that. And this is about efficiency and all that other crap. So, you know, not really something that I need to read to you guys, but it does come with the tool and a sharpening stone where you can sharpen the blade. I just did a review on a grinder, 24 bucks. Might want to pick one of those up too to sharpen the blades. But so far I've used this for about, I don't know, 6 months to a year. It's been fantastic. It does kind of struggle on branches, I'd say, that are, I don't know if this would really cut up to 0.86. Maybe it depends on whether it's dry or wet. But I just used this about 10 minutes ago, and I cut something that was probably the size of your thumb. And I had to kind of hit it and then hit it again. So I made a cut and then just kind of took two slices, basically cut through it. But, you know, as long as your expectations are kind of, you know, you're not expecting to cut 1-inch limbs with this. You know, it is limited. You could probably get much better ones by some of the big players out there with more cutting force. But for me, if you're going to cut something like cigar size, I think you'll be fine with this. But I think that's kind of pushing the limits of it. This is more for things that are going to be under cigar size, right? And I don't mean like the big fatties. I mean, like, I guess it's not a good example. I don't know, figure on, I think, let me just look at kind of what, give you guys an example. So figure, all right, so figure Sharpie size. If you're cutting anything at Sharpie size, I think this is going to be fine for you. But most of the things, like if you're just, remember, it's not meant to cut huge branches. It's really meant for pruning. So for me, this has been a game changer tool. Really, really easy to cut things. And sometimes you might cut other stuff with it. Basically, if you can cut it with a scissor, you can cut it with this. So it's a fantastic tool. I'm not going to, like, you know, try to oversell you on this and talk about all the different uses. I use it often. I like it. It's a great tool, especially if you're, again, climbing a ladder and trying to reach out to trim things or cut things. It's really a game changer, and it's really pretty safe to do it like that, where you can hold on to the ladder, reach out, and trim. Also, sometimes, you know, if you're trimming something, even if you're not on a ladder, you're trimming stuff around your house, and you have to, like, really reach. Like, I'm 5'8", so I don't have a lot of height. And so, you know, if, let's say I don't have my step stool, you know, and I'm reaching out, like, if you're trying to reach out with, like, standard pruning shears, sometimes you just can't produce the force to cut something, whereas this, it's like butter. So it's a fantastic tool, and I would say, as long as you're being safe about it, being careful not to get your fingers near the blade, any age group can use this. And definitely somebody who doesn't have a lot of strength in their hands, especially for our older folks. You know, a lot of older folks love to work in the garden. This is a fantastic tool to be able to make easy work of any jobs you're going to be working on. So let's get a couple of close-up shots to show you here. It looks like, I wish it was bright orange, but you know, it is what it is. Fantastic tool for the lineup, and this is one of these tools that if this one does fail at some point, I will definitely replace it with whether it's the same brand or something comparable, because it really is a handy tool to have in your arsenal of gardening supplies or just regular tools depending on what you do for work. So thanks for watching, folks. Let me know if I can help you in any way. Links are in the description. Have a fantastic day and take care.